Now, the Youth Party has won a case to be declared a duly registered political party which can stand for elections in Nigeria. The favorable judgment was this week secured at the Supreme Court, which upheld the earlier decisions on the matter of both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal. The Independent National Electoral Commission had taken the matter to appeal after the Federal High Court ruling. For more on this, we are now being joined by spokesperson for the Youth Party of Nigeria, Ayodele Adio. Good afternoon and congratulations, I should say.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Well, the last time you were here, you spoke with so much fire, I almost left the studio. And it's nice to see that you're...
I'll be gentle today.
But I'm just saying that to say that the passion with which you spoke, I'm just glad that it also translated to the efforts. And now that you're seeing fruition, what happens next with the Youth Party now that it's been declared duly registered?
I mean, a lot of things are going to happen. First, it's been 3 years of a legal struggle. INEC had its knees on our throat, essentially, and we've had to sue INEC on an industrial scale at a state level, at the federal level, from excluding us from the electoral process since 2019. We've been denied the right to participate in local elections across several states, and in the states in which we participated, we had to go to court to get a favorable judgment to allow us to be on the ballot. And in those cases, we only got headways just 24 hours to the election, like in Lagos and in Abia State. So it's been 3 years of a long legal battle, and this victory gives us the opportunity to go back to our rebuilding process, to commit to our objectives, and to build a credible alternative political party for the Nigerian people. That was our mission from the very beginning, and I think that we'll just, fully commit to that process. In any case, we never stopped playing the role of a credible opposition party, even during the times that we're in court. We had put out position papers on the economy. We had presented position papers on national security, a police reforms report. We had participated in the constitutional amendment process, where we're the only political party to put forward a paper and a position. So we have been actively engaged in the electoral process and the process of governance over the same period that INEC has had its knees on our throat. So we'll just continue to do what we do. The only difference is now that we have the legitimacy in the eyes of people. We've always believed that we had the legitimacy because the courts was on our side, the Constitution was on our side. But of course, people were always wary about the fact that, okay, are you registered or not? Your name is not on INEC's website. So this gives that legitimacy for other people to also join us and build something for the long term, something credible, and something worth deepening our democratic process in Nigeria.
And still talking about rebuilding here, you have a lot of grounds to cover for next year's polls, no doubt. And what are your chances realistically? Are you fielding a presidential candidate or focusing on other levels of public office here?
No, we don't have a presidential candidate. And in fact, we just have two candidates that will be running. One, Terry Taylor in Etiosa 1 for the House of Assembly elections in Lagos, and the other, Mrs. Victoria Oluchi, who's running for governor in Abia. And I tell you, these are one of the most courageous, passionate, and patriotic Nigerians I've ever seen, because despite the fact that our names was not on the website for INEC, we conducted primaries. They believed, they purchased forms, they continued to campaign, they pasted their posters everywhere. I have never seen such courage and belief in the democratic process like I've seen from those two very wonderful women. So those are the two people that will be running elections, and we're going to be engaging INEC on that, because over time we had been excluded from the pre-election processes, where we would send names of our candidates and it was rejected. We tried writing several letters. Thankfully, we have records of these correspondence, and we'll be engaging with INEC that these two people who have stuck with us through thick and thin would have, the opportunity to participate. Because all we've been asking really is the opportunity to participate in the electoral process. And you can't deny, Nigerians their constitutional right to participate in a democratic process. And hopefully, I'm sure that INEC will see reason with our arguments and our position, now that it's even strengthened by a judgment from the Supreme Court. And, these two fine, wonderful women, patriotic women, will be on the ballot next year.
Thank you for clearing up. You said you're not going to field any candidates for the presidency.
Yes.
I'm just curious, though. Would the Youth Party of Nigeria be looking to get behind any of the parties that have presented their candidates running for presidency, since you're not going to be giving us anyone?
It's an interesting question that you asked, and this was discussed at our NEC meeting, very recently. And first of all, I must say that, Youth Party even has far more registered members of our political party than even the Conservative Party in the UK. So we have a huge amount of registered members across the country, at least 10,000 in every state, of this country. The position that we have taken at the moment, it could change tomorrow, is that, members of the party are free to choose whichever presidential candidate, best reflects, their values and best aligns with some of the values that we've espoused as a political party. And we would not want, as a NEC to intrude in that and decide where thousands of members are going to vote. They would, be doing that by themselves. They will choose who best reflects, their values, and they'll be voting. That's the position we have taken now.
For now.
Yes. If it changes tomorrow, we'll be happy to express that, going forward. But at the moment, members of the party across the country have the right to choose who they'll be voting as president and who they'll be voting as governor in their various states. But as a political party, we're bound to support our two candidates, which is Tari Taylor in Etiosa, and of course, Mrs. Oluchi in Abia State for governor. Every other position, I think, the current position is that, the members have the right to choose who they'll be voting for.
Very good. Beyond the youth status, as it were, where do you think your party actually lies, the strength, in terms of your focus? Is it local government, parliamentary, or state level? You already mentioned those two individuals realistically for the elections, but yes, on a long-term basis here, what are your targets in terms of, the grassroots politics and starting from the bottom up? You
have your finger right on the button when you say the long-term objective, because it's a long-term process. You're not going to change the current political system the way it is overnight. And it's important in historical context to party formation, if I may, which also I think is important to clarify, because I always hear these arguments when we state our case publicly. I think Nigerians view political parties as simply a vehicle for winning elections. And I think that's why we have found ourselves where we are as a country, where in the last 40 years we've been unable to solve any social problem, because political parties are merely set up to win elections and go back home. I think, and I would argue that political parties are beyond that. If you look at how political parties have been formed across the world, and in Nigeria particularly, they are organized around particular interests of a group of persons, whether regionally, locally, or nationally, to agitate for that particular purpose, and they translate into political parties to pursue that particular agenda or a group of agendas. So whether it's the action group that started as Egbeomo Odua, which was to pursue the political interest of the Yoruba nation at the time, or it was the Northern People's Congress that actually started by two local groups merging, the Jamir Arewa in Zaria and the Jamir Mutaning Arewa in Kaduna, that came together to form the MPC. And the Middle Belt Congress. You see, political parties are set up to promote specific interests, and they turn into movements and they become political parties with legitimacy. So for us, we started as a political party to expand the political space in Nigeria, to give young people an opportunity to participate in the electoral process. And we wanted to pursue a kind of politics that are driven by ideas. Because over time in Nigeria, we have noticed that political parties frown from the promotion of bold ideas that changes nations, and delivers good governance. And we wanted to be the party of ideas. And that's why every year we put out at least 4 position papers every quarter, whether it's on the economy, on national security, on whatever issue of governance, because we want to be bold and strong on ideas, because we believe that it is upon great ideas that nations are built and that nations become great, based on the quality of ideas that are espoused by the political parties in that country. So for us, our mission is simple: to expand the political space so that young people can continue to participate. Second, to build a credible alternative political party where the process is transparent, where if you win a primary election today, nobody's changing it on Saturday. And thirdly, to build a political party that is essentially driven on ideas that will impact on the people and move our country forward so that we can begin to solve genuine problems that bothers us as a country. There's too many problems in our country. 133 million people should send alarm bells on all our heads. We have the highest inflation in 17 years. We have the highest food inflation in over 22 years. So these are problems that need solving. We have a revenue crisis in our country. We need to find a way to fix it. We have a huge debt burden in our hands. We need to fix it. We have a national security crisis. We need ideas on how to rejig and, rebuild our security architecture in our country. So these things cannot happen by wishful thinking. They are going to happen by people putting their heads together, locking themselves in the room, and putting out bold ideas that can change our country for good. And that's what we're all about.
We certainly wish you well, and congratulations again.
Thank you for your faith in us.
Our spokesperson for the Youth Party of Nigeria, Ayodele Adio, thank you for joining us on Newsday. We appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.